This is a continuation of the previous story, Silver Moon Seamstress. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy. Returning to the Silver Seamstress, Chapter 4, The Dress of Becoming. You don't remember sleeping, yet you wake. The air of your room feels wrong, saturated with that soft hum that has followed you through every dream. The marks on your palms have deepened. They no longer shine, but lie dark beneath the skin, as though ink has been injected into your veins in looping, deliberate patterns. You try to wash them away. The water beads and runs off, as if the lines reject cleansing. Outside, the fog has thickened into a wall. The world feels folded, like fabric drawn too tight on its frame. You know she's still working. The pulse of her rhythm beats faintly in the distance. It no longer comes through sound, but through pressure. The town itself seems to move in time with her hands. You promise yourself you won't return. But as dusk bleeds into night, you find your steps aligning with that hidden cadence. Through, pull, knot, tighten. You follow the rhythm through the fog until the shop appears again, exactly where it shouldn't be. The door stands ajar, light spilling out, not amber now, but pale and gold and cold, as though moonlight has taken root inside. The room beyond is changed. The mannequins are gone. The shelves are bare. The seamstress sits in the center of the floor, surrounded by a circle of thread. The fabric from her table has been cut, shaped, transformed into something almost whole. A dress. It is unlike anything human hands should make. The material seems to hover between solid and fluid, its surface rippling with faint reflections, sometimes cloth, sometimes something else, a shifting skin that catches the light wrong. The seamstress's face is peaceful. Her eyes are closed. Every movement of her needle is precise, reverent. She is not sewing now. She is finishing. You see the space in the circle, an absence shaped exactly like a person standing still. You take one step inside before you realize your body is moving without your consent. The floor hums. The threads tighten behind you, sealing the circle. The seamstress opens her eyes. There is no recognition, only completion. She lifts the dress. The fabric unfurls, gleaming faintly, and the room darkens around it. The hum inside your chest answers. The dress moves. The dress stirs as if aware of you. It folds, rippled outward, the light sliding across its surface like breath over glass. The seamstress gestures once, and the threads at your ankles tighten. The contact is light, but clear. You will not leave. The hum builds until you can feel it in your teeth. The lantern flares white, then dim again. The air tastes of metal, sharp and clean, like the edge of a blade. She rises her body, moving with the stiffness of something long folded. She holds the needle high, the thread trailing from it like a strand of light. The fabric lifts from the floor. It tilts towards you like a living thing, scenting warmth. You step back. The thread keeps you scented. The hum changes pitch, the sound layered, low as thunder in bone. The seamstress extends the dress toward you. When it touches your skin, it's cold at first, then warmer than blood. It conforms instantly, pressing against you as if it already knows your shape. Where it touches, the boundary between cloth and skin blurs. You try to speak, but the hum swallows your thought. The seamstress lowers her needle, nodding in satisfaction. The dress tightens slightly, a second skin drawing breath for you. Your pulse answers it, synchronizing. The threads retract into the circle. The room exhales. The dress settles, gleaming faintly. In the window's reflection, it's still you, but something underneath has shifted. The seamstress returns to her chair. The needle rests in her lap, its thread still connected to the hem of what you wear. The vibration ceases. The silence that follows feels absolute. You take a breath, and the dress breathes for you. The seamstress does not move. Her gaze fixes on some point behind you, as if the walls themselves are taking shape in a new design. Outside, the fog has lifted. The town looks rearranged. Streets no longer follow their usual lines. Roofs bend at strange angles. The light is whiter, stripped of distance. You step through the door. The world greets you with a sound like fabric stretched to tearing. The ground feels soft, not muddy but springing back under your shoes, textured like densely woven cloth. Every building wears a faint shimmer. The surfaces flex when the wind moves, subtle ripples that catch the corner of your vision. You walk. The dress moves with you, not brushing your body, but anticipating you. Tightening before each step, loosening after. Its weight is inconsistent, feather light one moment, heavy enough to pull at your shoulders the next. At the end of the street, you see figures, people standing still, their cloths billowing through, though there is no wind. Each one turns as you pass, not with their heads, but with the fabric that covers them, folds twisting toward you like eyes half hidden in shadows. They do not speak. They seem to wait. You reach the square. The fountain no longer holds water. In its basin lies thread, miles of it, tangled and wet with dew, glimmering silver. The threads move in small currents, looping through each other, knotting, unknotting. When you lean closer, they react, coiling towards you like vines, seeking sunlight. The dress responds, tightening once, warning. Somewhere behind you, a door slams. The sound echoes too long. You glance down at your hands. The marks beneath the skin pulse faintly, matching the rhythm of the moving threads. The seamstress's voice isn't needed. Her work continues through, though. The air thickens, the sky bending lower, the town exhales a single synchronized breath, and you understand that the pattern has spread beyond her wall. You try to return home, the streets rearranged behind you. Each time you arrive, the door of her shop stands open a little wider. Inside, the air is cold. The thread circle is gone, but its mark remains, a faint outline catching the light. The seamstress sits where you left her, eyes closed, the needles across her knees still linked to the hem of your garment. When you step across the threshold, the thread tightens once more, acknowledging you. The walls pulse with your breath. The boards rise and fall, like a chest inhaling. You've stopped fighting to pull. The dress moves with you until you can't tell which one of you is leading. The seamstress opens her eyes. They are pure silver. She doesn't speak, but you understand. The work is not complete until the cloth chooses to stay. The hum rises, the thread between you glows faintly. The marks under your skin flare in answer. For a heartbeat, the entire room feels suspended. Every thread, every beam, every breath. Then the vibration stops. In the silence that follows, the dress feels heavier. It clings to you, as if it has decided you are enough. The seamstress's shoulders drop, a quiet surrender. Outside, the fog lifts completely. The world looks normal again. Streets straight, windows bright, but the air carries the faint whisper of thread moving through fabric. You know that sound. It matches your pulse. The seamstress lowers her gaze. The needle slips from her fingers and lands softly on the floor. You step backward into the street. The shop door closes behind you without a sound. The hum has changed key. It follows you now, quiet, intimate, patient. You didn't need to look down to know that a single silver thread trails behind you through the fog, vanishing into the seam of your new skin. For 3 nights, you don't sleep. The hum has settled under your skin. Even silence sounds like it. When you stand still, the world leans toward you, drawn by the faint vibration that travels through the air. By morning, the town looks new again, cleaner, sharper, almost polished. The bricks glint faintly in the light as if glazed. Curtains move when there is no wind. Somewhere far off, a shutter bangs once and then keeps moving, tapping a rhythm you recognize. Through, pull, knot, tighten. You walk to the square. The fountain that overflowed with thread now runs clear, but the water carries a film of iridescence. Each ripple forms small, repeating spirals that vanish when you blink. When you turn, you see them. The shop windows are no longer empty. Mannequins fill them, scores of them, posed behind the glass of stores that had been abandoned for years. Some wear tattered remnants of clothing. Others nothing but their smooth surfaces, but every one of them faces you. The air wavers. The mannequins sway almost imperceptibly, their stillness performing breath. You take a step back. The nearest figure leans forward, only a fraction of an inch, but enough to break the illusion of wood and cloth. The motion is too fluid. You retreat to the street center. All along the row of shops, the mannequins tilt slightly in unison, like grass bending beneath an invisible current. The rhythm of their motion matches the low beat that hums inside your chest. You whisper to yourself, just sound, no words. And the figures respond. Heads incline, fingers twitch once, then fall still. The world holds its breath. Far away, the bell of the town's church rings once. The tone wavers halfway through, as if something inside the metal has begun to soften. The mannequins turn their faces toward the sound. The movement is slow, graceful, rehearsed. Then they return their attention to you. You know what you're seeing. The pattern has found hosts. The thread is everywhere now, thin, unseen, binding air to matter, motion to thought. You feel it brush your skin, a static tingle that climbs from wrist to throat. The dress seems lighter. You can almost hear the fabric whispering against itself, readying for something. You start to run. The sound follows. Hundreds of faint joints creaking, feet sliding, cloth shifting. The rhythm doesn't hurry. It never needs to. When you look back once, the mannequins are walking. You run until your breath rasps. Every corner, every narrow lane seems to fold you back toward the square. The town has lost its sense of distance. Streets intersect where they never should. Buildings lean together, as though comparing notes. The sound behind you never changes pace. The mannequins move without hurry, a steady procession. Their footsteps don't strike stone. They brush against it, whispering. You dive into a side alley. The walls are damp, sweating in the pale light. A smell of dust and starch fills the air, and for a moment you think you're back in the workshop. At the alley's end, a shop door stands open. Inside, bolts of fabric droop from shelves, soft and heavy. You push through them, hiding behind the thick folds. The cloth is warm from some unseen heat. For a while there's nothing, only your breath, the steady beat in your chest, and the faint shiver of the fabric against your face. Then the whispering begins again, not outside but within the room. The fabric trembles, threads uncoil from the edges, reaching across the space in thin, silvery lines. They move with purpose, weaving themselves into shapes that hang suspended, half-formed, limbs, faces. You press back into the shelves. The air thickens with the smell of wax and dust. The forms continue to build themselves, the strands tightening, pulling taut, until the outlines of new mannequins hang in the air like ghosts. They don't solidify. They sway, empty, waiting. Something in your own clothes stirs. The fabric against your shoulders flexes, stretching and settling again. The sensation is not painful, but it carries intent. You slip from the shop into the street. The square is empty now. The mannequins have dispersed, but the silence they leave behind is worse than their presence. It feels charged, ready. Above you, the clouds swirl in slow spirals. Threads of light move through them, fine silver lines that crisscross the sky. Every second in the town now follows a rhythm. A hammer falling in a distant yard, a shutter tapping, even your heartbeat. Through, pull, knot, tighten. You understand. The seamstress isn't controlling the pattern anymore. The work has learned to continue on its own. The wind carries the smell of old fabric and candle smoke. It comes from every direction, filling your lungs until the air feels woven. When you exhale, the mist that leaves your mouth forms a small, perfect loop before dissolving. The mannequins are gone, but their shape remains in the air around you. The whole town has become their mold, and you are standing in its center. The streets are too still. Every sound seems absorbed, folded into the air, until the only thing left is the dull throb beneath your feet. You move carefully now, afraid of breaking whatever fragile silence keeps the world intact. Every window you pass reflects a sliver of you. The outline blurred, doubled, stitched, with faint silver light. The reflections hesitate a fraction behind your movements, like marionettes waiting for their cue. Somewhere, a door opens, then another. The sound multiplies, rising from every street, every building. The town exhales in perfect unison. The vibration in your chest matches it exactly. You can feel the pattern tightening. Each breath you take threads through the next until the rhythm belongs to the town as much as to you. A faint movement catches your eye. Across the square, figures step from doorways. Not mannequins this time. People. The ones who remained hidden behind locked windows and shuttered shops. Their faces are blank with calm. Their clothes stiff, moving slightly before they do. They begin to walk. The sound of their footsteps is soft, a dry whisper against the cobblestones. Every motion of theirs follows the rhythm that's been echoing through your body. You try to call out, but the sound that leaves you is threadbare, thin, unraveled. The people tilt their heads, listening, then resume their walk toward the fountain. The water there gleams faintly, silver and dark. The ripples travel outward, never fading, forming a perfect, continuous loop. The first of the townsfolk step into the basin. The surface does not break. It stretches, holding them. The next follows, and the next, until the basin is full of figures standing motionless, their reflections bending upward, merging with the spiral of light that drifts through the clouds. You feel the dress shift, tightening along your spine. The hem lifts, fluttering without wind. It wants to move. The hum deepens until it becomes a note you can feel in your teeth. The sky's light curls downward, threads of brightness joining the fountain's spiral. The people in the basin raise their hands as one. You take a step back, but the ground flexes, soft as cloth beneath your heels. You understand that the world is no longer made of stone. Every breath, every heartbeat, every tiny sound has been woven into the same pattern. The town is one fabric, and you are part of its weave. In the distance, the seamstress's shop flickers once, its windows flashing silver before going dark. And the mannequins, wherever they've gone, do not need to move anymore. Their work stands on its own. You keep walking because stillness feels like permission. Every step lands on something that gives slightly, the ground flexing as if stitched from a softer world. The rhythm of your pace blends with the pulse that lives beneath everything now. You can't tell who follows whom. The people in the fountain remain standing. A silver spiral rises from their joined reflections and stretches across the rooftops, turning each window into a pane of light. The town glows faintly from within. You back into an alley. The air there quivers with the same pale shimmer. The walls are close enough that you can feel them breathe. With each inhale, fine threads drift loose from the brickwork, brushing your face, clinging to your skin. When you lift your hand to push them away, your palm leaves a print, an impression of silver lines that fade, then reform in new shapes, always moving, as if trying to copy your pulse. The dress tightens once, the fabric cools against your ribs. A quiet sound travels through the air, the faintest click of a needle settling into place. You know it. Through, pull, knot, tighten. The whisper comes from nowhere and everywhere. The threads on the walls tremble in answer. The fountain's light flares. The rhythm quickens. Not frantic but sure, like a craftsman finishing the last seams of an enormous garment. The people begin to turn their head toward you. Their faces are calm, emptied of expression, the calm of material fulfilling its design. When they move, the folds of their clothes ripple outward, sending small waves across the ground. The air tastes faintly of wax and dust. You retreat until the alley ends at the old churchyard. The gates stand open, the path lined with cloth that used to be grass. Between the gravestones rise figures, new mannequins, not carved, not assembled, but grown from the ground like pale stalks. They bow slightly as you pass, the motion graceful, rehearsed. At the far end of the yard, the mist parts just enough to reveal the outline of the seamstress's shop. It stands perfectly intact, lantern burning once more. You can see her silhouette in the window, needle poised above the fabric. You understand then. She never left. The town itself is her loom, and everything inside it, including you, is a part of her final work. The hum steadies into one long note. Every thread in the air pulls taut. The scene freezes in a breath that refuses to end. And from somewhere deep inside, that stillness, the next stitch begins. The sky above the town is no longer sky. It has taken on a texture too smooth, too pliant, a pale expanse stretched taut, trembling faintly as though something immense breathes just beneath it. You walk without direction. The streets have turned narrow, long corridors of cloth and quiet. The houses have lost their edges, their walls sagging inward like tents. When you brush your fingers along them, the surface gives slightly, warm from within. Everywhere the hum has deepened into a pulse. The world feels hollowed out by it. Even the air vibrates in your throat when you try to breathe. In the distance, the seamstress's shop burns with a steady white glow. It is no longer a building. It is a heart. You move toward it, drawn not by choice, but by recognition. Each step leaves a faint print behind, not footprints, but impressions of the same looping patterns that live beneath your skin. The shop's walls are transparent now, made of layers of fabric stretched tight. Behind them, the seamstress sits at her table. Her hands work with impossible speed. The thread spills from her fingers in shining coils that drift out through the open door and into the world, stitching air to matter, street to sky. When you cross the threshold, the sound ceases. The stillness is almost merciful. The seamstress looks up. Her face is no longer old. It is smooth, featureless, a mask of pale cloth. Her eyes are closed, seams. Her mouth a single perfect stitch. The dress you wear stirs, as though recognizing its maker. The seamstress gestures towards you. The fabric between you trembles, then parts down the middle, forming a long seam of light that pulses like a vein. You step forward. The heat in the air builds until it feels like a fever radiating through your skin. The threads that connect you to her table glow brighter, and then you hear it again. The first sharp intake of the needle's rhythm. Through, pull, knot, tighten. The sound vibrates in your bones. The fabric of the walls begin to breathe in and out. You feel it touch your shoulders, your spine, your throat, not with pain, but with pressure, as if testing the weave of your being. The dress tightens, you inhale, and the world inhales with you. You stand in the white glow that has eaten the room. The seamstress's chair dissolves. The floor stretches, lengthening into an endless bolt of fabric that ripples away into darkness. Everything that once was wood or stone is now cloth, trembling gently with a heartbeat too large to belong to one creature. You feel it pressing up through your soles, running the length of your body. Every small thread in your dress wakes and aligns, turning toward the same invisible gravity. The seamstress lifts her faceless head. The single stitch that was her mouth loosens. A column of breath escapes, silent but visible, twisting into the shape of a spiral above her. For a moment you glimpse what she has made. The town lies spread across that sheet like embroidery. Streets, houses, rivers, all reduced to the fine geometry of thread. Figures move along it, every motion a shiver through the weave. Somewhere among them is you, and around you the pattern tightens again, infinitely small, infinitely precise. The seamstress reaches toward you, where her fingers hover near your chest. The fabric of your garment yields, opening slightly like a door waiting for a hinge. No pain, only a pressure, a rearranging of what you were into something that fits the design. The rhythm slows. Through, pull, knot, tighten. Each beat takes longer than the one before. Each breath feels like the world deciding whether to keep you. You understand that she is not finishing you. She is handing you the needle. The thread drifts from her hand to yours, its glow dimming to the color of moonlit silver. The moment your fingers close around it, the pulse that filled the room moves into your body. The seamstress folds in on herself, the cloth of her form collapsing gently into the chair, leaving the faint outline of a woman traced in dust. The needle in your hand hums once, acknowledging its new owner. The silence that follows is complete. The world holds still, waiting. When you breathe, the walls around you flex again. A single loose thread dangles from the edge of the table, swinging in the quiet. Instinct tells you what to do. You lift the needle. Through, pull, knot, tighten. The first stitch closes the air before you. The second draws light into pattern. By the third, the hum returns, soft, distant, but growing. Outside, the town stirs. Windows flicker. The faint sound of thread moving through fabric travels along every street, down every wall, until the whole world resumes its breath. You lower the needle. The pattern continues on its own. Above you, the sky folds neatly, seam by seam, until there is no difference between earth and heaven. only the endless weave of creation repairing itself. In that last instant of clarity, you realize that the silver seamstress was never one woman. She was the craft itself, passing from hand to hand, century to century, stitch to stitch, and now she is you. And the needle waits for the next trembling soul who will enter the shop that never sleeps. And thus ends the tale of the Silver Moon Seamstress. And I hope you absolutely loved this episode and the previous one. I really enjoyed narrating these, particularly in an ASMR style. Nice and close to your ears. Absolutely wonderful. Legends, thank you for listening. To all my new listeners, thank you and welcome. If you want to hear more of my episodes, feel free to swing on by my Patreon, not to just show me some support, either through dollary dues or leaving comments, but you can listen to my episodes there as well. Also, you can listen to my episodes on YouTube, and if you are a subscriber, you'll get each episode 1 week early. Also, you'll have my ear and get to vote on episodes. Thank you so much for listening and hanging around for so long. And now I want to thank the absolute legends that make this podcast what it is. And I'm talking to my Patreon supporters. First up is my legendary, my mythical, majestic supporter, my old Night Tea Titan, my friend, Matto Star. Matto Star! When the dress of becoming tightened and the room held its breath, it was your midnight warmth that kept the needle from shaking as the thread circled our ankles and the shop's light turned cold as moon bone. Your calm steeped the moment, turning panic into poise, Matto. When the town's mannequins learned to walk and every window took up the rhythm, your ember held steady, a center of gravity inside the hum. And when the needle passed from her hands to ours, your name moved with it. Smoke, spice, and silence, teaching new fingers how to sew a world without tearing it apart. Thank you, Matto, for your awesome support, friendship, and brilliance. I hope you have a spectacular week ahead, and keep an eye out for your emails. Cheers, legend. And now for my White Tea Warlords. White Tea Warlords! I am lucky to have Lesosaurus Rex, the Iron Pulse. When the fabric tested our balance, tightening before each step, your cadence kept us upright. Core engaged, breath controlled, and posture unbreakable. And when the sky became one vast sheet, you spotted the lift. One more clean stitch, no strain, no slip, and finished strong. Literally a deadlift of the sky. Have an awesome time at the gym, buddy, and have a brilliant week ahead. Thanks for your support, and thanks for your friendship. Cheers, Leza. And my next White Tea Warlord, Maya, the Queen of Cats. When the threads in the alley brushed our face like whiskers, it was your kingdom that answered. Sleek shadows slipping between seams, curling on the sill of the workshop window, you taught the dress to move with grace, to land always on its feet. And as the mannequins tilted their heads and the town purred in one long note, your soft sovereignty kept the claws sheathed and the ritual precise. Even when the needle chose a new hand, you blinked slowly, approvingly, mysterious, merciful, and entirely in control. Thank you, you absolute legend, the Queen of Cats. Have a brilliant week ahead, and thanks for your support and friendship. And finally, Sangeetha the Seer. You felt the hum change before any of us could name it. You read the looped lines beneath our skin and knew the dress had already chosen. When the streets rearranged and the sky folded seam by seam, you traced the patterns end back to the beginning and showed us where to place the final knot. And in the white glow of the eternal atelier, as the old face unstitched and the new one lifted the needle, your vision held steady, not an ending but a handover. Craft made immortal by the ones who dared to complete the stitch. Thank you so much, Sangeetha. You are marvelous. Have a wonderful week ahead, and thank you so much for your support and friendship. And to my Earl Grey enforcers and all tiers thereafter, I am lucky to have Chad Warren, Peter Raffaelli, Joss Heather, Juicebox Andy, Divided by Zero, Paige Kramer, Seductive Smiles, Jane Gumnick, and Michael Krupp. Thank you so much for your support. And folks, again, that was The Silver Seamstress, a story about creation, devotion, and the quiet horror of becoming what you love too completely. And as you turn off the light, remember, the shop still stands somewhere between waking and dreaming. The candle still burns low, and the seamstress still works, patient, tireless, waiting for the next trembling soul who will enter the shop that never sleeps. Through, pull, not tighten. And as always, till next we speak.
The candle's low, the wax is drowned. Her needle hums beneath the ground. A silver thread still marks the street. The pulse of cloth beneath my feet. The mannequins no longer wake. Their silence sings the sound they make. The world is shaped by one last scene. A pattern whispered through a dream. Like she is near. A breath, a sigh, I almost hear. The town forgets, but walls recall. The thread that binds us through it all. Thank you for listening, you amazing listeners. I want to thank my Outnight T-Titan Matostar, the most amazing supporter and special pal of mine. May your days be full of joy. And a huge thank you to my White Tea Warlords friends. Lizosaurus, my gym genius. Maya, my queen of cats. And Singjitha, the seer that sees all. And To all my Earl Grey enforcers and tears, thereafter all my love to you all.